Hi, this is a video about how to use consciousness altering drugs in a responsible way. I am a mystic, I am a shaman in training, and I am a seer. I'm an extremely psychic person, and I would like to talk to you today about how I perceive drugs as a psychic and what I think the best things you can do to responsibly trip are. Um, I come from a long line of psychics. I also come from a long line of alcoholics. My family, my lineage, I come from a lineage of seers, and I think that my body reacts to substances differently than other people's bodies do, and it's because I hold a lot more spiritual energy in my body than the average person, and so does a lot of the people who are part of my lineage do. This is a huge blessing and a huge curse, and it kind of just is what it is. And this video actually comes from my lineage and the story of my lineage. And it's a really hard story for me to tell. I might cry a little bit when I make this. And I'm telling the story for the sake of the healing of my lineage. Now, I'm not going to go into what that means. This is just the intention I'm setting for the video. But this is what I've learned so far about substances. So, everything is a trip. Consciousness itself is an experience of consciousness. We are experiencing ourselves. Life itself is creator's decision to experience life. We are creator witnessing itself. God created life because God wanted to know what it's like to live. And our cycle of incarnation is us just remembering what it's like to remember that we're God watching ourselves. And so everything is a trip. Everything. Absolutely everything is a trip, because this reality itself is an illusion, okay? It's an illusion. We think that we're separate. We think that fear is real. And actually, everything is divine, and everything is working in our favor to help us awaken and to help us be who we are. And sometimes we remember that, and sometimes we forget that. And that's part of what it means to be in this life. And we're all coming here so that we can heal the things that we got to heal and work on the things we got to work on. Those things that you're thinking of, that I'm thinking of. Yeah, those things are things that you've also worked on in past lives too. Obviously, these are just my beliefs. Take it or leave it. I promise I'll get to consciousness soon, or drugs soon. So people take drugs to feel things, or to not feel things, to know things or to not know things, to see things or to avoid seeing things. And everything is a drug. I've learned this the hard way. Everything is a drug. Like psych meds are drugs. Alcohol is a drug. You know, sometimes herbal teas can have such a strong effect that they're like drugs. And I think our society has like drugs that are, okay to take and drugs that aren't okay to take. But regardless of what your opinion is, when you take a substance, you are altering your consciousness. That's what you're doing. You are altering your perception. You are altering your perception. And when you alter your perception, you have a different experience of reality than when you do when you're sober. And sometimes your experience of reality is good, and sometimes it is bad. Sometimes when you take a substance and your perception changes, suddenly things just seem a lot worse, or maybe things seem a lot better, or maybe you feel like you need to continue to take a substance in order to continue to perceive reality that way. And what I will say is that reality isn't a one size fits all thing. And I think we all kind of know that. I think it's become kind of obvious today that, we all experience a different slice of reality. And you can be around someone who has had a very similar life experience to you, but they could see things in a completely different way. And that can be fucking wild because it's like, how could you, what? Like, we all have a very subjective experience of reality. And what I will say is, as a psychic, I've been taught that reality is consisting of different planes of consciousness. There are different worlds that exist within our world. And this is common knowledge to me, but I guess it isn't to a lot of people. So we have the third dimension, okay? And we also have the fourth dimension, and we have the fifth dimension, and so on. And I don't really care about the languaging behind it or like the numbers or whatever. All that I know and all that I would like you to know is that there's this world, okay? There's the earth world, and there's the spiritual world. And the spiritual world is a lot of worlds, okay? And the spiritual world consists of different frequencies of world. Some of the frequencies of the spirit world are very dense, and some of the frequencies of the spirit world are very, very light. I would say the densest frequencies of the spiritual world is probably Wi-Fi and the internet, okay? That is a non-physical vibration that is a world, okay? I would think that the internet is its own little world. That's the fourth dimension. The dimension of mind is the fourth dimension, and it's probably the internet, but don't quote me on that, just my opinion. And the fifth dimension is the dimension of the heart. That is the higher worlds. And I'm not going to go into the sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth dimension because I don't really think it matters. I think that I would like to keep it simple and just say that there's a spiritual world that is a world of illusion. And that's the first world you have to cross through before you get to the higher dimensions. And you don't actually get there physically. You get there inside of your consciousness. You get there in your perception of the world. And that's kind of what people have been talking about this whole time. If you're in the know about the spiritual stuff going on, a lot of people have been saying that we're ascending to the fifth dimension, blah, 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 blah. Really what that means is that our society is going through a collective spiritual rebirth where we are having to transcend our egos so that we can be more in harmony with each other over time. And this is going to take a very long time. As y'all see, the world's fucking crazy right now. It's going to take a really long time. But that's what's going on. We're trying to live through the hearts, okay? Everything is about the hearts. So that was a tangent. We're talking about drugs. Okay. So drugs, they tune you in to different inner planes. Some drugs take you more into the realm of the mind and the realm of illusion, because the mind, my dears, is actually the facilitator of the illusion. Your mind lies to you all the time. Your mind is like a closed system and all the voices are yours. It's so easy to get lost in the mind. We all do it, but that's not going to actually like heal you or change you or anything like that. So the mind is a plane of consciousness to get lost in. And I need you to know that substances, they're like roads that you can travel that will take you to certain places. So it's important that when you take a substance, you are remembering that you are going on a journey and that your perception is changing according to your journey. And so always set an intention before you take a substance. Set an intention for where you want to go. Do you want to go into more illusion? Do you want to go into more truth? Why are you doing this? You know? And don't worry, like the substance will take you where you need to go inside yourself. And you have to have that neutrality and understanding that like what you perceive is part of that trip. Okay? So with all of this being said, you have to use substances responsibly in a way that propels you into more truth. And you have to understand that sometimes you're wrong and sometimes the mind lies to you about what you're experiencing under intoxication. That everything that you experience under intoxication is a trip. And so you can use that trip that you're traveling to heal yourself and to heal the trauma in your life that you have set yourself up to heal, and to better have a better journey of incarnation within this existence. Because everything is a trip in the eyes of God. Everything is a trip. Everything is an illusion. Everything is a layered perception that we have that we can change. You can change the layers of your perception with substances. And you can change it in a way that helps you evolve spiritually and know more truth. But ultimately we don't want to rely on substances to evolve us into truth, because that's actually how we do the opposite. It's a trick. You don't want to be an alcoholic, you know? Maybe alcohol helps you at first. It helps you at first to face your emotions, and maybe it helps you tell the truth, and maybe it helps you have better, more fulfilling relationships at first because you feel comfortable getting drunk around people and maybe you open up to them. Okay, great. But don't let that become your whole life, because then that will destroy you, and then you'll get even more led into illusion. I want you to think of substances as vacations or as literal road trips. That's just one little part of life. It's not your whole life. You know, people don't go on road trips for their whole entire life. They don't go on vacations for their whole entire life. If you want to be a better person and maybe a substance is helping you feel that way, that's a sign that you can integrate that lesson into your life when you're sober. It's understanding that when you're taking a substance, you're not just taking like a drug, like how you eat candy. You're like literally traveling into a different world. You are going into a place inside of yourself. You are traveling. And you need to know what the rules are in the place that you're going to. And you need to know which place you're going to. You need to know if you're going to a realm of more illusion or of more light. You need to be in touch with your heart. You need to understand that your mind can lie to you. And that sometimes, even if you're going somewhere spiritually and it feels good, it might not actually be good. There's a lot of realms, there's a lot of places people go to spiritually that are not good. They are not good at all, and they feel good and they look good, and it's a lie. It's called the lower astral realm. It's the realm of illusion. It's the first place people go to spiritually before they reach the heart. This is why people are scared of spiritual work. This is why people are scared of exploring consciousness. This is why religions are like, oh my God, it's the devil. It's because the first realm of spiritual substrates is the lower astral. It's the mirror realm. It's the meniscus of the water before you reach the other side. Okay? And so you have to know what that feels like. You have to know what fake feels like, what fake spiritual truth feels like, what fake connection feels like. It's part of discernment. It's part of figuring it out. The easiest way to trick yourself spiritually is to take substances. I'm so sorry to say that, but it's true, in my opinion. So just be really aware. And I would advise people too to learn how to meditate and to learn what you feel like. Really, what do you feel like? Learn that before you start dilly dallying and dancing around in the ether of consciousness. Because it seems like we're all trying to like seek ourselves, and we're trying to like figure out who we are, and we're trying to journey and travel and find the whole and find God, and and that's a beautiful artistic necessary pursuit, and that's also what it means to be human. To be human is to be spiritual, and it's sacred. It's very sacred. And I notice people in life, using drugs, and I think about tobacco. Tobacco is really interesting because tobacco was used by Native Americans, and it's a ritualistic herb. Tobacco is the herb of gratitude and of sacraments. Actually, I think sage might be sacrament, but I think tobacco is definitely gratitude. We thank our ancestors with tobacco. And smoking the sacred pipe is like a huge practice in indigenous culture. I don't really know a lot about it, but I know it's a thing. And I find it really interesting that now we have like nicotine addiction and nicotine. It's like these sacred substances are also spirits too, and they are their own teachers, and they are their own world. They're an entire world. And people are just using these drugs in this way that's like, oh my God, I want to get high. And it's like, bitch, please. Like, if you disrespect the drug will fuck you up. Like I've had experiences with marijuana. I've had some vast experiences with marijuana. And I mean, Mama Ganja is crazy, dude. Like, she will take you out. She will take you far out. I call her Dark Mother Riptide because I'm sorry, family, if you're listening and you're nervous. I'm okay, I promise. If you, like, I've taken an edible and I have felt as though I've been pulled into these realms of like life and death. And I'm still coming back from those trips. And it's like, you got to respect what you're taking. You got to learn the history of the plant or the substance that you were taking. You got to respect the spirit of it. You got to offer an offering to the entity of the drug you're taking and allow it to teach you something. It's so bizarre to me that people like don't understand this. It's like, what are you doing? Like, one time I was at a party and people were taking fucking DMT, and I was like, I had to leave. I had to leave. It felt so disrespectful to me because they weren't thanking the goddess of ayahuasca. They didn't have a relationship with her. They were just taking this psychedelic like it was nothing. Like, I mean, are people that out of touch? Like, these plants were gifted to us from the creator so that we could remember who we are. And y'all are just taking it as if it's like a freaking candy. Like, it is a form of worship. Taking drugs is a form of worshiping God. And we have to do it with respect. We have to do it with clarity. We have to do it with understanding that we are altering our consciousness because we are trying to figure out who we are. And I mean, I feel like across the board, like, even if you're not a religious person or a spiritual person, when you take a substance, you are trying to know yourself. You're trying to find something, that has to be acknowledged. Because if we're not acknowledging it, we're just lying to ourselves. It's like you're fucking without acknowledging that you're trying to experience physical connection. Like, come on. Okay. Wow, I did not expect to like rant about that. I hope that this answers questions or gives you more information. If you would like more information, please leave your questions in the comment section below. And if I have any resources about how to responsibly trip, I will also leave them in the description below. If you're interested in, like, I don't know, I've always kind of wanted to like make a course about this. If you want a course, let me know. I'd be happy to provide more grounded things and more basic tips about how to trip responsibly if you have any desire for that. I hope this makes sense. I know I'm really intense. Sorry if that's like sorry if I'm too much. Oh my God. Um, okay. Have a great day. Bye.